Thank you. Welcome, and I'm glad you could join us today. We are here to celebrate and witness the swearing in of Leesa Manion, our King County's next prosecuting attorney. Today is historic because Leesa will be the first woman prosecuting attorney for King County. Last year, after I took my oath of office, I heard from women attorneys and other civil servants and other working moms about how meaningful it was to them for me to take the highest legal office in our city. Now, for the first time, both prosecutorial leaders from Seattle and King County will be women. Today is also historic because Leesa will be the first person of color to hold this office. So I know that when Leesa takes her oath in just a few minutes, she will be opening the door for so many others. Let me tell you a little bit about Leesa. After graduating from Seattle University School of Law, she joined the prosecuting attorney's office and has served there for the past 28 years as a dedicated civil servant. As a member of the Korean Prosecutors Association, board member of the Urban League, and the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, she also dedicated her personal time to service. Over this past year, one of my priorities has been rebuilding the working relationship between the Seattle City Attorney's Office and the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. And as Chief of Staff in a prior role, Leesa was a key figure in that work, taking the lead of that office and interfacing with us to coordinate on complex issues. And I know, as the first women and the first mothers in these positions, we will keep working together to improve our region's safety, because it is incumbent upon us. Also, under Leesa's leadership, the Prosecuting Attorney's Office has expanded victim services by adding more funding, support, and staffing. She has promoted data-driven strategies by using data analysis of gun violence across King County to help identify those more at risk of becoming shooting victims. Through her work with the Regional Domestic Violence Firearms Enforcement Unit, firearms have been removed from domestic violence households and other dangerous situations. And I know better than most the challenges Leesa still faces. Our prosecutors are being asked to do more with less. Moving people out of a cycle of crime requires multi-agency coordination and resolve. It requires root cause interventions and accountability. I look forward to working with Leesa as we build a safer region, provide justice to victims, and support meaningful intervention for those trapped in criminal activity. Congratulations, Leesa, on your historic achievement. In a moment, we will hear from Leesa, followed by the oath of office, administered by Judge Sandra Widland. Then Jerry Beck from the Korean Prosecutors Association will give some closing remarks. And if you would please join me in welcoming Leesa Manion.
Thank you. Can folks in the back hear me? Okay. And thank you so much for that warm and generous introduction. I am so grateful for you, for your support, everything you've done after the campaign, for serving on my transition team, but most importantly for your leadership. The relationship between our two offices has never been stronger, and I am looking forward to what we can do together. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It is so good to see you here today. Thank you for coming to celebrate with me. It is an honor and privilege to lead this office. Together we made history, and together we will chart a new path toward improved public safety and public service for the residents of King County. It is the great honor of my life to be the first woman and the first person of color elected to serve as King County Prosecuting Attorney. And I am honored to be the first Korean American woman in the United States to be elected Prosecuting Attorney. As a career prosecutor, I have dedicated my entire career to public safety and to public service, and it is humbling that my life's work has led me to this historic moment. I am so honored to celebrate and share these historic firsts with you. I am grateful to have the opportunity to acknowledge and thank all who traveled this road with me, a journey that started as an infant born in Seoul, South Korea, to taking my oath of office today as King County Prosecuting Attorney. As the new leader of this amazing and important office, which has some of the most dedicated, passionate, skilled, and effective public servants in our state, I have been asked, what changes will I make? What priorities will we tackle first? How will I organize our team? Those are valid questions, and I recognize the interest. As part of my deliberative process, I have been engaging and will continue to engage in several one-on-one and small group meetings with employees, community leaders, and other stakeholders. I am intrigued and inspired by the ideas and suggestions that have been shared with me, and I am more optimistic than ever. And I am motivated to make changes that will improve and increase opportunities, transparency, and appreciation throughout the office. My goal is to announce some of those changes in the 3rd or 4th week of January. So there will be time for policy announcements, and I will always invite your ideas and feedback. But today is about celebration. And I believe we can all agree that a good portion of every celebration is rooted in gratitude. I am so grateful that you have all made time to join me in today's celebration. Today we celebrate a new chapter for the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, our communities, and our collective power in coming together. I am grateful for each and every person who played a role in helping me get here. There are literally hundreds of thousands of individuals who supported me on this journey. Friends and loved ones, mentors, colleagues, elected officials, law enforcement, community leaders, faith leaders, volunteers, and voters. Indeed, there are too many individuals to thank for today's short ceremony. To avoid the risk of inadvertently failing to mention the names of every person who was instrumental in getting me here, and to avoid the very real risk of having to be here until midnight to name them all, I will, for today's celebration, forego individual thank yous with 3 key exceptions. My 2 children, Christopher and Natalie, and my brother, Tim Barrow, whom I will talk about in a bit. Christopher and Natalie, I am sure you're already cringing at my mentioning your names and the resulting attention, but you wouldn't recognize me as your mom if I didn't embarrass you just a little. Christopher and Natalie, this celebration is yours as much as it is mine. For 10 months, we weren't able to spend enough time together. In fact, there were days when we barely saw one another. And while you're teenagers and you can forage and fend for yourselves better than if you were younger and smaller, I know that there were days when you wanted me home, wanted to share the details of your day, and wanted me to take you out so I could foot the bill. And I'm sure me at home to walk the dog so you wouldn't have to. Thank you to both of you for being such good kids, for being so supportive, and for recognizing how much it meant to me to work so hard to accomplish this goal. I couldn't have done it without your love and support, and I was touched to the core every time you offered a kind word, left the porch light on for me, and acknowledged my hard work and long days. I love you, and I am proud of you, and I will work hard in this role so that you can be proud of me too. I am also so grateful to all of my colleagues. I want to thank each and every deputy prosecuting attorney and legal service professional of the prosecuting attorney's office, the women and men who all work incredibly hard to serve our King County communities. You make this office a special place to work, and you bring excellence to our practice each and every day. And while I am grateful for all of you, I want to take a moment to specifically acknowledge and celebrate the women of the prosecuting attorney's office, those who are part of our team today and those who came before us. I stand on your shoulders. I stand with you and I stand for you. Your strengths and your talents inspire me, and I am deeply moved by the hope and faith you have placed in me. To all of the women, from teenage volunteers to elected leaders to law enforcement to former Supreme Court justices, thank you for supporting me on this journey. There are far too many women to name individually, but each of you are trailblazers who broke glass ceilings, dismantled barriers, and opened doors. And you continue to hold the doors open for all who follow in your footsteps. No words can fully express what your support means to me. Thank you. I am so proud to join you, to walk with you, and to do my part in continuing to increase opportunities and representation. Representation matters. Together, we can and will ensure that while I am the first woman to hold this role, I will not be the last. And I need to say a few words of special heartfelt thanks to the Asian American and Korean American communities who provided me so much support and encouragement, not just here in King County, but from all over the United States. For those who don't know, I was separated from my Korean mother at a young age. And as a result, I did not grow up understanding or knowing my Korean ancestry or culture. I did not grow up hearing or speaking Korean. I did not grow up eating Korean food or celebrating Korean history or holidays. I did not have Korean aunties, ajima, looking after me. When I announced my run for office, I expected to encounter some surprises. And I'm so happy that one of those surprises turned out to be an unexpected gift. Our Asian American communities, and especially our Korean American community, welcomed me like a long-lost daughter, came out in force to support me, and repeatedly told me how proud they are of me. Every time I share this part of my story, I get emotional. Because it wasn't until my experience during this campaign when I saw and felt Asian American communities wrapping their support around me that I realized that being seen as, accepted as, and celebrated as an Asian American and a Korean American was a piece of myself that I had been missing. I am, of course, grateful for the support and the encouragement I received, but I am especially grateful for the recognition of my Asian heritage and for the gift of identity and belonging that my Korean American community provided me. And I am happy to report that I now have a small army of strong and mighty ajima to lean on and learn from. underestimate their protectiveness. I feel so loved and cared for. Thank you. Thank you for cheering me on. And this feeling is why representation matters. We all want to be seen. We all want to be understood. We all want to be recognized as worthy. We all want equal opportunities, and we want our lived experiences to be valued. And we all want to be safe as our authentic selves. The deep-rooted call for belonging is universal. And I know in my heart that every time we answer this call, we march closer to equity and justice. During moments of celebration, it is easy and maybe a bit of a habit to speak only to the good things and to fail to speak to our challenges. Yet, it is our challenges that guide us to our opportunities, shape our vision of what can be, and bring resolve to our beliefs. And there is no doubt that just as we face some challenges, we have just as many opportunities at our fingertips that can strengthen our office and our communities. Within the prosecuting attorney's office, we have women and people of color who have been marginalized and underappreciated. I understand what that feels like. There is nothing about title or positional authority that protects you from microaggressions, bias, and stereotypes. We have an opportunity to heal and restore trust. We can envision a fairer and more equitable workplace where opportunities are shared in an open and transparent manner. I believe our colleagues' lived experiences, that they have been hurt and disappointed. I believe that we as an office can heal. I believe that we can and will restore our trust in one another. I believe this because I believe in our PAO team. I believe in the deep love that each of us carries for our mission, the why that brought us to this work. I believe that our love extends to one another because I have seen it. We have a court backlog of more than 4,000 charged cases as the result of a pandemic that is approaching year 3. We have an opportunity to innovate. The prosecuting attorney's office has been prioritizing the resolution of violent crimes and sexual assaults. Our deputy prosecuting attorneys and legal service professionals are in court every day bringing resolution to those cases. But our normal ways of doing things are not enough to counter the disruption that's caused by the pandemic. We can and must envision a justice system where prosecutors, public defenders, and our judges are willing to try new approaches on how we do our work. I believe we can challenge ourselves, be creative, and let go of past practices that are no longer working so that we can deliver justice in a more timely manner and protect our employees from burnout and mental and emotional fatigue. Like every major jurisdiction in the United States, we have seen an increase in gun violence over the past few years. We have an opportunity to make our community safer because with data analysis from the prosecuting attorney's office, we know how to identify the individuals who are close to gun violence. We can envision a partnership where prosecutors, police, community leaders, and nonprofits use this data to inform our collective approach to tackling gun violence. We can work together to identify those who are perpetuating the most harm in our communities and bring accountability. We can also provide meaningful interventions to individuals before they become victims or perpetrators of violence. I believe gun violence is preventable and that we can reduce the devastating effects gun violence has on our King County communities. During moments of celebration, in addition to being grateful, we can also take stock of our values and remind ourselves of the important moments that shaped our achievements and our life's work. Each of us has a why, and my brother is a big part of my why. My younger brother, Tim, is the only person in the world who has shared my every joy and heartbreak. He is, and always has been, my biggest supporter and my #1 champion. He cheers me on and cheers me up. He always lends a listening ear, offers sage and sometimes questionable advice, and sometimes annoys me because he is, after all, my younger brother. We have all heard the adage that parents never stop being parents and that they remain protective of their children long after they are grown. I think this same sentiment can be applied to big sisters. For our entire childhood, I was my brother's primary caretaker and his protector. Even though we are only about 18 months apart in age, I was the one who told my brother bedtime stories and tucked him in at night. I made sure he had clean clothes for school and checked that he did his homework and brushed his teeth. I did my best to protect him from bullies and harm. As an Asian kid with brown skin growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, he suffered the same disproportionate school discipline and law enforcement contact that so many boys and young men of color experience. One year in school, we were both in the same grade. The class was divided, half devoted to 6th grade and half to 7th. One day, my brother, and only my brother, was pulled out of our gym class and paddled because he was laughing with some other boys. The gym teacher who paddled him was a ginormous man, and my brother was small. I remember how helpless I felt as this terrible event unfolded before me. And even in 7th grade, I knew that my brother did not deserve to be punished, humiliated, or to have his spirit broken. This memory pains me, and the sickening feeling of watching my brother being targeted because of the color of his skin has never left me. When my brother was a teenager, he had an old ratty car that had a short in the electrical system. If the car hit a bump, the lights would flash off and back on. One night as my brother was pulling out of a convenience store parking lot, the lights on his car flicked off and on as he drove over the speed bump, separating the parking lot from the street. Within blocks, my brother was pulled over by law enforcement, made to exit the car, lay prone on the ground while the officer radioed into dispatch to report that he had apprehended the suspect who robbed the convenience store. The response from dispatch was, "What robbery? We have no reports that a convenience store had been robbed." My brother was allowed to leave, but neither he nor I ever doubted that his life was in danger that night. The sad reality that I could lose my brother simply because of the color of his skin is an experience that I share with far too many. And this story is an example of why we must continue to work to eliminate the bias and systemic inequities in our justice and legal systems. Our challenge is that we have racial disparities in King County, and we have an opportunity and the obligation to acknowledge and dismantle those disparities. I have shared that I am not making any policy announcements today, but I am inviting the Prosecuting Attorney's Office to rename our Equity Social Justice Committee to the Race, Equity, and Social Justice Committee. We cannot dismantle racial disparities in our legal systems or build racial equity in our King County communities if we do not intentionally talk about and focus on race. I envision a future where we, as a prosecuting attorney's office, use our power to continue reducing racial disparities in our legal systems. And in my vision, we share our power with our communities, and law enforcement are trusted partners in this work. My vision is also shaped by my partner's lived experience. Perry is a retired assistant police chief, and he carries the bullet, knife, and trauma scars from a more than 3-decade career in law enforcement. The job is dangerous, And like so many of our law enforcement partners, Perry is and always has been an advocate for meaningful police reform. I envision a future where law enforcement and prosecutors are trusted partners in ensuring that all of our communities are safe and supported. This includes being safe from police violence. And in this vision, there is accountability for officers who break that trust. I'm committed to attending our monthly police chiefs and sheriffs meeting to strengthen my relationship with law enforcement and to recommit to our partnership to build a more inclusive and safe King County community where police, prosecutors, and residents value one another. I believe we can and will achieve this. As I have said many times over the past year, public safety is my #1 priority. I envision a collaborative model of public safety where multiple systems and interventions operate in concert with one another. Public safety means that without question, we prosecute violent crimes, sexual assault, and gun crimes, and that we prioritize our resources to ensure that these crimes receive timely and necessary accountability. Public safety also means that we are free of hate crimes born out of discrimination. It means that we offer victim services that are culturally responsive and that we respect victims' desires for healing and restorative practices. It means that we give nonviolent youth who make stupid mistakes a second chance. It means that we acknowledge and dismantle racial disparities in our legal systems. And it means we address incidents of crime and root causes, making sure that people who need help, intervention, and treatment have access to the support and services they need to get the behavior to stop. Public safety is all of these things. And together we will build a modern, thoughtful, and effective criminal legal system that does both, address crime and helps people recover and restore their lives. And we must do this work together. It is our way to chart a new path. This is a team effort. I am excited and honored to chart this path with you as your King County Prosecuting Attorney, and I am inviting you to join me on this journey, to work together and to continue to bring positive change to King County. Thank you.
I state your name.
I, Leesa Manion,
Having been duly elected
to
to the office of prosecuting attorney,
the office of prosecuting attorney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of this office
discharge the duties of this office
as prescribed by law
as prescribed by law
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
and that I will support and maintain
and that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of the State of Washington
the Constitution of the State of Washington
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And here I thought he didn't have a romantic bone in his body. Okay, I won't.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Beck, and I am the Executive Director for the Korean Prosecutors Association. I am the founder, the first president, and also during my day job, I am an assistant city attorney for the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office. I am the longest serving Korean American city attorney for the city of Los Angeles, as well as the third Korean American city attorney. I could tell you from my experience that representation and diversity within government is a must. And part of the problems where we have so much problem in this society, I think stems from the fact that the continuing institution has not fully embraced and accepted diversity. And that is a must. In order to protect our community, in order to allow our community residents to feel like they have a voice within their own government. As part of my Korean American background, in 2010, we formed an association called Korean Prosecutors Association. It started with a group of Korean American prosecutors in the city of Los Angeles, around the local area, and after 12 years later, we have representation in 9 different countries around the world. In 2018, Korean Prosecutors Association decided to honor female prosecutors throughout the world. And one of the individuals that were nominated was Leesa Manion. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it because of her scheduling conflict. And I told her that I would make up for it one day. And this is the day. As a Korean American, sometimes it's hard to find the right inspiration, to find the right role model for the next generation of Korean American kids. And today is one of those unique days that I would not miss this moment for anything. Therefore, I flew out from Los Angeles last night and told Leesa I will be here for this iconic day because she is and will be and continue to be a role model for not only Korean Americans, but for Korean American female. And she is a role model for our Korean American female prosecutors, especially in the United States. As such, I wanted to honor Leesa with this plaque from our Korean Prosecutors Association, which reads that Korean Prosecutors Association presents special recognition award to Leesa Manion, King County Prosecuting Attorney, for becoming the first Korean American female prosecutor elected in the United States, and for your support and dedication to the Korean American community and to KPA. With tremendous pride and gratitude from the KPA Board of Directors, officers, and members from around the world. January 9, 2023.
To say that I'm overwhelmed would be a tremendous understatement. I am so happy and grateful to be here, and I am touched beyond words can describe. And before I leave the podium, I just have to say a special thank you to one last supporter. Melody, if you could maybe stand on one of the pews, and I promise the judge won't yell at you. You have beautiful butterflies in your hair. This young lady drew me a very special picture. And her mom shared with me that she cried when she found out she had to be 18 to vote for me. So thank you for